After finishing it all, you returned to the express and came face to face with March 7th, caught skipping class. Sipping milk tea and gossiping, time slipped away unnoticed. The next day arrived.
You there, T-Soy Pogs? Are you able to cooperate with us for a bit? Care to come by the Artisanship Commission?
Did something happen to the sword?
Whoa, I didn't even say anything. How'd you know? That's correct. The Artisanship Commission said they received a sword yesterday from General Huayan. Today, when we checked in, the sword had vanished. Anyway, the Realm Keeping Commission is officially conducting an investigation and is interrogating the relevant individuals.
So, I'm a suspect?
Come on, my lad, it's just a routine questioning. But you did attend the sword gifting ceremony yesterday at the Palace of Astrum, and some craftsmen said they saw you at the Artisanship Commission. Anyway, anyone who attended yesterday's ceremony and lacks a clear alibi will be considered a suspect. The craftsman also mentioned a young girl who broke into the Artisanship Commission with a sword in hand. She bears the bulk of the suspicion. All right, enough chatter. I'll see you at the Artisanship Commission.
All right, everyone is here. It's time for questioning.
Yunli, I'm sure you understand why the official called you here, right?
Yeah? But I didn't steal the sword.
I can vouch for her.
Now is not the time to use your reputation like that. If we don't recover the sword, we will be breaking our promise to the Luofu and betraying the delegation. We're counting on you to find the truth, Official Dahao.
Yes, it's my duty to thoroughly investigate the case. Even though Yunli is firm in her words, we can't just rely on her testimony.
After everything, the sword still got stolen. They should have given it to me from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree.
In this case of Gu Yun's theft, everyone involved seems suspicious to some extent. Miss Yunli is the main suspect. First, during the sword gifting ceremony, Yunli openly expressed her intention to steal the sword. She even mentioned it multiple times. After the ceremony, she broke into the Artisanship Commission and destroyed automatons in an attempt to get the sword. Am I right?
That's true.
The Realm Keeping Commission inspected the arsenal where Gu Yun was stored, and there were no signs of forced entry through the doors or windows. The only possible entrance or exit was a small window gap, just a few inches wide.
If March 7th were here, she'd probably jinx it and accidentally reveal who the thief was.
The box containing Gu Yun was opened and the sword went missing, but none of the other swords in the room were touched. Which means...
The suspect knew about the box and the sword.
Well, I do know about the box and the cursed sword.
Exactly. The suspect had a clear motive and took only Gu Yun. So, besides the ceremony participants, only the delegation members had access to the sword.
Could it be that someone from the delegation stole the sword?
In that case, why would they return it to the Xianzhou in the first place?
Not everyone in the delegation has the same agenda.
That makes sense. The delegation, led by the Knight of Beauty, delivered the sword to the Artisanship Commission. Craftsmen who received it testified that they didn't take anything from the arsenal.
Could it be that Argenti stole the sword?
Argenti? Oh, that Knight of Beauty. He was with the delegation when they handed over the sword to the Artisanship Commission. You might not know, but he's the one who recognized the sword's origin on Kalevala and escorted it back to the Xianzhou. In other words, he's the one who made it possible for the sword to come home. So, he wouldn't have gone through all that trouble to bring it to the Luofu if he wanted to keep the sword for himself, right?
Could it be that a craftsman stole the sword?
Master Gongshu checked the work records, and I questioned all the craftsmen and apprentices who were on shift at the time. But I didn't find any suspicious individuals.
Could it be that I stole the sword?
So, did you steal it?
No, I didn't.
Then stop joking around.
I can prove that he came to me after leaving the Artisanship Commission, so he couldn't have stolen the sword.
To put it simply, not everyone who's seen the sword has been to the Artisanship Commission, and not everyone who might want the sword has seen it. So, the only remaining suspect is Miss Yunli.
Fair enough.
So,
I didn't steal the sword.
well, when you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
No. This isn't the only remaining possibility.
If you want to prove me wrong, you'd better come up with some solid evidence.
Let me gather my thoughts. I need to help Yunli clear her name. Did we miss any clues?
Yunli says she didn't steal the sword, and I am willing to believe her. But I know well that Yunli can be impulsive, so if she did steal the sword on a whim, I won't show her any favors. You were with Yunli yesterday, young man, so you have the chance to prove her innocence. Is there anything you need to ask me?
Did she come to you afterward?
No, she was still mad at me, so she didn't come by. If she had come with you, she wouldn't be a suspect right now.
How was the sword delivered?
After the ceremony, Argenti carried the sword case, and together with the delegation, they were escorted by the Cloud Knights to the Artisanship Commission. The artisan there confirmed that the sword was safely stored.
That's all I have to ask.
I'm counting on you, then.
Yes, I received your message yesterday and went to the arsenal to check on it. But when I went back this morning, all that was left was the case. I don't know anything else, so asking more questions won't help, I'm afraid. However, as the Master Artisan of the Artisanship Commission, I've got to clarify something. Even though the sword was stolen, this commission is still highly secure. Wait, no. I just remembered. My precious arumatons were smashed!
I don't want to make things difficult for official Dahao. Let's do this his way, and prove my innocence. If I can find that cursed sword, I can prove my innocence right away.
And how are you planning on finding the cursed sword?
That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. There's something else bothering me. Why would the thief take the sword, but leave the case behind? Did they melt down the sword like I wanted to?
Maybe the case was too much trouble?
Yeah. Maybe. But if the case was too much trouble, wouldn't it be too conspicuous to carry around the sword like that? In plain sight?
Who could have thought that the Miekaki vesa would be stolen? And that the prime suspect is General Huayan's granddaughter? Regardless, we've accomplished our mission, and now it's the Xianzhou's problem. By the way, why did that girl call it a cursed sword? It's quite upsetting.
Because the sword contains an evil spirit.
That's enough, young man. Now let me get something straight. On Kalevala, this sword has always been highly revered. The first master of the Miekaki vesa slew countless demons and then passed it down to a line of wise monarchs. The monarchs would heed the guidance of the hero spirits within the sword and gain insight into defeating their enemies.
Was that actually the voice of the Heliobus?
What is, Helio? What? Never mind. The point is that the Miekaki vesa did help the ancestors of Kalevala build a strong foundation. It's definitely not a cursed sword.
If you've found any clues, feel free to tell everyone.
I'd like to talk to the others again.
All right. Come back to me when you're ready.
The container used to seal Guin is indeed a sight to behold. Its beauty is radiant. Perhaps it was this very beauty that has drawn unwanted attention. Regardless, as one of the few pieces of physical evidence left at the scene, it just might hold traces of the thief. The sword case, masterfully adorned with metal wire inlays, traces the pattern of lotus flowers, subtly proclaiming its origin from the illustrious Xianzhou Luofu. The locking mechanism nestled within the case remains intact, bearing no marks of external force or tampering.
So, the thief took the sword from the case without picking the lock.
You notice a few smears of red along the bottom of the sword case's interior. It's hard to ignore, as if a deliberate declaration of existence to those who are viewing the sword case. A few petals, teetering on the brink of withering. More precisely, a single rose petal.
Why is this flower petal inside the case?
You close the sword case and put it back.
If you've found any clues, feel free to tell everyone.
I'm 100% sure Yunli didn't steal the sword.
Thank you. But I'm not sure if I can convince Mr. Dahao.
100% sure. Fine. Let me go through my reasoning again, and you can interrupt if anything feels off. Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission, and that was Miss Yunli. Miss Yunli caused a ruckus at the Artisanship Commission trying to take away Guin, but you stopped her in her tracks. After bidding farewell to you, Yunli pretended to leave, but snuck into the arsenal alone and stole Guin.
On second thought, maybe let me think about it again.
Take your time. My reasoning is solid. After bidding farewell to you, Yunli pretended to leave, but snuck into the arsenal alone and stole Guin. Miss Yunli caused a ruckus at the Artisanship Commission trying to take away Guin, but you stopped her in her tracks. Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission, and that was Miss Yunli. Miss Yunli caused a ruckus throughout the entire incident. There was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission, and that was Miss Yunli.
On second thought, maybe let me think about it again.
Take your time. My reasoning is solid. Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission, and that was Miss Yunli.
On second thought, maybe let me think about it again.
Take your time. Throughout the entire Miss Yunli caused a ruckus at the Artisanship Commission trying to take away Guin, but you stopped her in her tracks. After bidding farewell to you, Yunli pretended to leave, but snuck into the arsenal alone and stole Guin. We haven't found any other suspects or evidence.
I found this in the crevice at the bottom of the case.
A rose petal? Huh. Yeah, I must have missed it during the search. But why was there a petal inside the case?
I don't know. But I do know that wherever that Knight of Beauty goes, he always leaves behind a trail of rose petals that's almost impossible to clean up.
My thoughts are a mess. Let me sort them out. The sword case was never locked, which is evidence that only someone who delivered the sword could have done that. And the rose petal was probably left behind by that Knight of Beauty. But how did he manage to take the sword from the Artisanship Commission? Why did he steal it after returning it here? And why would he leave that petal in the case?
Ask Argenti, not me.
I know. Guin flew out of the case on its own. The Knight of Beauty only unlocked the box to aid its escape.
Don't be ridiculous. How can a sword escape from a case on its own?
You've never seen a flying sword before?
I've only heard about the Mieka Kifesa being able to fly in legends. But even if it could fly, why would did the Knight of Beauty do this?
Like I said, the sword contains a heliobus. Argenti must have been under the control of the sword. Maybe he was under its control even before you arrived on the Luofu.
Official Dahao, where can we find that knight?
Let me see. The docking location of Argenti's ship. The one and only.
Let's go. We've got to find Argenti before that sword completely takes over his mind.
The shining golden side. Let your inner spark ignite. Find a treasure, a growing bright. Reach out for it and take a flight. Lucky or not, at least you tried. Chin up, in yourself confined.